Welcome back to An Athlete's Journey. I'm your host, Travis Reed. Today I got a special guest, somebody who is the older gentleman who I looked up to, you know what I'm saying, when I first came into the League of Holland. He is one of those overseas legends, you know what I'm saying? Um, I was happy that he asked to come on the show. I appreciate him so much for, wanting to come on. He was a person, like I said, that has I looked at when I was first year overseas, I was like, who is this guy? Oh man, his career is insane. He definitely got a lot of, accolades to his name. He's like I said, an overseas legend, good person. Please introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Kendell Mack, and I think you might have overdid it a little bit. I wouldn't say that. I got many accolades. Born in LA, moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma when I was 15. Played at Oral Roberts University. Like you, came over to Europe to play.
Like I said, it's for me. I always, like I said, I appreciate people like yourself because everybody's like NBA. We talked about it earlier. Everybody's like NBA. And I'm just like, man, overseas, you could be a millionaire, you could make a whole lot of money and have a long career if you just stay dedicated, to overseas. But the downside of overseas basketball is that you are on a series of year-by-year contracts. And, teams don't like you, they can cut you at any time. And if you American, you come in, you have a one bad game, say you score 6 or 8 points, you come in Wednesday, you play Thursday, they got a flight for you on Saturday if you play bad. So,
That was wild.
Exactly. I told him the story. I flew into France on a tryout, and there was another American there already on the same tryout. So I had to go against him during practice, before practice, during practice, after practice. We both on the same tryout, and we played together like one game, and you don't want nobody to do bad, but you're like, miss that shot.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you missed it. All right, coach, time to put me in. So
it was wild.
Wild situation. So I think that teams, it's, I don't know how it is now, but back then it was straight cattle call. So, but like I said, I appreciate you, Kendall, for coming on, man. Like you said, obviously you went overseas, but how did your basketball journey start?
Okay, before I get started on that, let me tell you a quick story about just elaborate on what you were just talking about.
Please go.
We both played it. We both played at Den Bosch, right?
Yeah.
When I played at Den Bosch, we went through in that season 8 different Americans. And getting fired for just the reasons that you stated, but there was one particular instance that just stood out in my mind. We had this guy, I won't mention his name, but he played at UNC Charlotte. But he was a religious person, and I'm religious too. But he came up with those. We were just in the preseason. He scored a couple of games. He scored my 3 or 4 points. As a big man, who you go into every game. So one time we was in the locker room. We were just getting ready to play Ulster, Belgium team. Just a scrimmage. And before the game, we were in the locker room, right? And so he's got his Bible open, and he's reading his Bible. And so I'm standing there. I'm an old vet, so I know how I go. And it's nothing wrong with being spiritual. I'm a spiritual person too. But you're in the locker room there, and you ain't put up with about 5 or 6 points the last 2 games. So I was kind of like scratching my head, like, oh my goodness. So the coach came in. And he saw him reading his Bible. So he grabbed his clipboard right in front of everybody. And he handed him the clipboard, and he said, okay, draw 5 down. And so he gave him the pen. And so he He started trying to write the play down, but he couldn't remember the play. He said, "Okay, write down, write thumbs up, thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Show me how we're gonna run thumbs up." And he couldn't write the play down. So he said, "Okay, that's all right, that's all right." Do you know that after the game, we went to the next practice and he wasn't there. They had already sent him back home.
Wow.
Which is kind of hard. Which was kind of hard. But I
No,
thought, if you got any kind of excuse, if you're a little bit religious, that they would try to sit him down and explain to him, listen, this ain't the place for that. I appreciate it.
no. You
But
gotta
no,
be you
they
gotta be
was
giving them
hard. They were
20 and
hard.
10. You gotta give them
Yep,
20 and 10. You know what I'm
yep,
saying?
yep.
Yeah, big man, like guards is a little bit different, I would say, but like big man is easy. You come in, you score 20 points, you get 10 rebounds. That's what you gotta do as a big man. Like
Yeah.
they want you to come in and
And it,
score.
and it depends where you play. Like if you
Yeah,
played a team like Groningen, they may have a little bit more leniency too, because it's all the Americans, they just cancel each other out most of the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's usually the team that's got the best foreign homegrown players.
Yes.
They usually win the championships. But I just thought that was a kind of a funny story. But me coming over to Europe, that was actually just an opportunity. You know, it don't just because you're the best player doesn't mean that you always get the right opportunity.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Because like when I moved from Cali, I hadn't started high school yet. So I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was almost 15 years old because my father, that's where he came from. My mom's from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
They met each other in California, and that's when they got married and they had us kids.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going into high school and, I don't have any kind of history. So they were kind of like, who this guy from Cali coming in here, trying to take over. So they didn't really appreciate me too much,
Mm-hmm.
until I got to know, some of the players who was growing up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't recruited heavily. I think I got one D1 offer at a school called Marist in New York, where I don't know if you remember him, Rick Smits.
Oh yeah, the Dunkin'
Guy
Dutchman. Yeah,
played,
of course.
yeah, played for the Pacers. I got another story about that. It's just crazy how things come full circle. I'll tell you that later. But so I went to high school, but I didn't go to D1 right away. So I went to junior college, a couple of junior colleges, and finally I ended up at Oral Roberts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Didn't play a whole lot there because I was playing back to Haywood Workman. I don't know if you remember him, but he played at the Pacers.
Yeah, I remember Hayward working. Yeah, I
Played at the
remember that.
Hawks. He played for the Milwaukee Bucks, Atlanta. So of course, I didn't get no too much playing time. But there was another guy who I played with who came over and he played at Den Helder.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how it is, you had two Americans back in the day, and one of them got hurt. So he called me. He said, "Look, man, I know you didn't get to play a lot over there when we were in college. The coach screwed us. You know, here's a chance." They asked me if I know another American who want to come over and play. Now I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't playing at the time. I was just finishing school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I finished school and I was just working. And he said, "Come on over." I said, "No, man, what I'm gonna do over there in Europe." So he started telling me, how it is about the life over there. So I said, "Okay." So I came over and I fell in love with it. And I was the shortest guy in the competition. And the first game, I remember our general manager. He was talking to the other general manager of the team because we were
Mm-hmm.
playing out. And he asked me, said, "Who's the other American on the team?" Because we had Big Mo. He's 6'7", and I could fit right in with the other guys because I was just just a little guy out there on the court. He said, "Where's the other American?" He said, "That's right there. So he looked at him. He said, "What are you gonna do with that, you little guy out there?" So make a long story short, I gave him about a 30 piece, no grease, and when we beat him at their place, and so my general manager who likes to smoke cigars was smoking a cigar after the game and looked at the other manager, general manager, and he said, "That's what we're gonna do with them."
That's how
So
you
it
got to
just went
show
there.
them. You got to show them just like that.
Yeah. So it just went from there. The first year, I was the fourth leading scorer in the league, and signed back. And halfway through the season, the team went bankrupt. So I was kind of like out of a job. So I played second division for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how it is, if you're not on the top team over there, you fall out of the view for everybody. So I played
Right.
on the top team uh, played on the second division team for about a year and a half. Uh, I won MVP of the league both years. And then all of a sudden they came up with this rule. And that rule was if you live in a country for 3 years uh, without leaving, you can apply or you are allowed to play in a team, but you don't count against the
Oh, as an
amount of
American,
foreign
yeah,
players.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So that's what happened to me. So I went to Den Bosch. So
To them boss. You went to them boss?
yeah, so I went to Den Bosch and we had three Americans. Plus, of course, you know how it is at Den Bosch, you had just about all the best players. So I had some Dutch legends on my team. So my
Mm-hmm.
job was pretty easy. I had to learn not to be trying to score all the time and to get these guys the ball. So
Yeah, yeah.
I played with a good 3-point shooter named Mike Frasewyke.
Okay, okay.
He used to play at Temple. Man, he can fill it up. Oh, he can fill it up. So all I did was get those guys the ball. I averaged about 12 points a game, 13
Mm-hmm.
points a game. But that's what you want. You want to get with a team that's going to win something, and you just have to play a role.
Right, right.
But then what happened was first or second round of the playoffs, Mike, who was our scorer, he hurt his hand. He tried to block a shot, and he broke his finger on the backboard.
Oh.
So now it's just me and Riley Smith as the two Americans on the team.
Right.
But then I got a chance to do what I could do. So I start taking over the scoring. So I ended up winning the MVP of the finals. We went beat Den Helder in the finals. And then after that, there was another rule that came in. If you live 5 years in a country, or at least in Holland, you can apply for a Dutch passport. And at the time,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to. At the time, I didn't have to relinquish my American passport. So I got a Dutch passport. So now I'm an American with a European passport. So I started getting offers from all over the place.
Mm.
We had just won a championship, and I was just the MVP, and I just got a European passport. So now I didn't count anymore as a foreign player at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up going to Belgium because at the time, I met somebody, and we were getting close to getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I played in Belgium, which means I could still stay in Holland, but I just commuted back and forth.
Oh, so that's what you did. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I played in Belgium for 4 years. And after that, then you become really an old head. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna come back to Holland and play. They wanted me. So I went and I played at Eiffel Towers for
Mm-hmm.
4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Won another championship, went to the finals, won the cup a couple of times, played European Cup. And then my last year, I played in Weert.
Yeah, I
So I
remember that.
stopped. I stopped when I was. Don't laugh, but I stopped playing when I was 39 years old.
Oh, I'm not laughing. I wanted to stop when I was 39. I just had to stop when I was 32.
You know why I stopped? Let me tell you the whole process of stopping. At least this is in my mind.
Right.
First of all, you know, you lose a half step.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what happens first, right? And you know, I'm a point guard, so you know those brothers, you know, they kind of quick. So you lose your quickness, right? So I lose a half step, and then you think, well, at least you know you start to reinvent yourself. You start playing smarter.
Mm-hmm.
Get to those places where those young guys have to exert all the energy, you know, but you just know where you're supposed to be, and you just get there
Mm-hmm.
with less energy. But
Agreed.
then, but then you say, hey, I've lost a whole step now, but at least I can foul them. And then you get to the point at the end where you said, well, I'm not even quick enough where I can foul anybody anymore. They just
They
too
just going
fast
around
for me.
too fast.
I can't even get to them to foul them. So that's when I just had to walk in the locker room and say, hey, fellas, you know, because they always, come on, you want to go one more year, K Mac, come on. I
Right.
said, look, man, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Hey, I understand that. Like you said, I say, yeah, I lose a half a step, then a step, then a whole step, and then I'm two steps because I can't even go around foul them.
Yep. Yep.
No, yeah. I remember my situation. I wanted to play longer, but like the offers wasn't, the offers started,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so like I just didn't want to have to just be going overseas just for the case of just to go overseas and not make any money.
Yeah.
Um,
You got to make
so
some money, man, because it
yeah,
hurts too much. They expect too much out of you.
yeah. Like if I'm getting paid, 20, like if I'm averaging 2010, I expect 2010 money,
Yeah.
not like 3 and 6 money, because if
Yeah.
you get 1,500 scoring 20 points and 10 rebounds, you're just like, man, I'm killing myself and I ain't saving no money.
And
And towards
you
the
be
end,
killing yourself.
yeah. And they want you to go all out, like they're paying you, $100 million, and
Yep.
they know they only paying you 1,500, but they want you to go all out.
Yep. And if you lose, it's your fault. Don't matter
Agreed.
what anybody else did. Even though you score a lot, rebound a lot, when you lose, it's your fault.
So, did you ever think about playing in the NBA?
Well, to be honest, Travis, I wasn't I didn't think I was that great of a player. I just knew I could really shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, a lot of times it's opportunity. Like in order to get to the NBA, best way is to get drafted.
Yes.
But you know, I didn't play enough to get an opportunity to get drafted. And then otherwise, you'd have to go play. And at the time, it was the CBA, I believe, which means that you're one of a lot of people trying to get in there. So you have to be a lot more lucky. And actually, to be honest, the experience in Europe made me grow so much as a person.
Mm.
I mean, I you learn a whole lot about yourself when you're away from home and you're immersed in other people's culture. Your whole world perspective just opens up so much more. You know, there's a lot of things I miss about the States, but I think the quality of life is so much better here. You know,
Right.
especially for people like us.
Yes.
So no, I wouldn't. I don't think I would have ever wanted to play in the NBA.
Okay.
I would have loved to have the NBA money. Don't get me wrong, but I think what I've gained in experience over here in Europe and what I've learned about myself, I think that's priceless.
hmm
Priceless.
No, no, definitely. I definitely feel 100% on you on that. I think, like pretty much for me, I think that what I learned so much, in Europe is just basically how to become a man, from a young man to a man,
Mhm.
and like the lifestyle of Europe is so much slower that you have to kind of like learn how to have a routine to get you through the days.
Yeah.
When I was in like when I was in the Boston, it was okay because I was an hour away from Rotterdam, an hour from
Hmm.
Amsterdam, whatever. I can easily just take a
Hmm.
freeway, an hour away from that club. I can't think of the club on Sundays. Everybody went to,
The
uh,
Mondial.
yeah, Mondial, whatever it
Yeah, yeah,
was.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
dudes are driving 2-3 hours to get there.
yeah.
Um,
You know, I
but
never been there. I've been
no,
past there. No. See, the thing
and
is,
you played in Weird and never went to that club, man.
no, I live also close to Weird, but the thing is, I was 39 when I was in Weird. I was already
Oh,
married for
so
quite a
so
time.
yes, they
I've
did.
I've been
Didn't
married for 25 years, man.
Oh, so yeah, you
So
didn't need to go to that club then. No, no, no.
no, no. So the club thing that was for me the first couple of years, but because, like I said, I wasn't a guy with a the resume you could say as these guys coming out of college. I didn't go to a big time college and stuff like that.
hmm
So I've always been pretty disciplined. So I knew if I wanted to stay and make some money and make a career out of it, then I couldn't be hanging out at the clubs and stuff like that.
Makes
So
sense.
after the first couple of years, you exploring and stuff like that. I just say, hey man, this guy. I had to tell some of the boys, because they like to keep going. I said, look, man, for me, this all coming to a screeching halt. I mean, you guys are in. I'm trying to stay here. I'm the smallest guy in the league. I got to work on my craft. So,
Hmm
I hit the weights. I did my running,
hmm
and I stayed, pretty much to myself.
hmm
So
Well, it
that's
makes
how I
sense.
ended up 14 years. Otherwise, I would never have made it, man.
Well, no, like I said, like 14 years is a long time. And, the fact that you got a chance to do all that from Oral Roberts, that's like a blessing, I
Yeah.
would say like, okay, we're gonna go back a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, what would you say was like the biggest lesson you learned from college? From playing overseas, from college.
Well, if I'm coming to college and going to play in Europe, actually, when you play in college, especially D1, there's a level of discipline that you develop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to go to class, but then they had coaches to come and wake you up if you didn't go to class.
Right.
And the practices, a lot of it just hard as hell. They weren't any fun, but it living and playing in Europe made me realize that discipline and all those practices and classes and all the things that you really hated, that's actually what uh, got you through.
Right. Right.
And then you just learn also how to apply that discipline in other facets of life. But you had it, only you didn't know it. So actually living over here, the lesson I've learned is that it helped me discover uh, parts of myself that I did not know existed.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Which makes sense. I think, with Europe, when it comes to Europe, like you said, it's about that discipline, because if you don't have
Mhm.
a routine or a disciplined routine, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it. A lot of dudes didn't make it because they couldn't figure out what to do because you have that free time in Europe. College
Yeah,
is, like
yeah,
you said, everything's kind of planned out for you,
yep, yep,
but
yep.
in Europe, it's like you might have practice, in the morning once, and
Hmm.
then at night, you might have practice in, 10 in the morning, to 11 shoot around or whatever the case is, and you won't have all that free time until 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, saying for me, it was like I will always have a routine. I get up, you know, I would you know, eat breakfast, watch some World CNN, go to the weight room, lift,
Yep.
then go to first shoot around practice, come home, ice, take a nap, and then get up and get ready for the next practice, you know, and kind of just do
Yeah.
the routine over and over and over again, you know.
Yeah. That's what I found so interesting about, because I've seen a lot of Americans come and go,
Mm-hmm.
but they come here and sometimes they get so immersed in the life they completely let go of the discipline that they developed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you play D1 basketball, you if you think about it, you have gone through things that you know most people would just quit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They would
Mm-hmm.
just quit because it's too taxing mentally and physically. But we made it. You didn't think about it at the time, but when you get out on your own, you think about how the hell did I make it? Because I should be dead. They tried to kill me. They tried to kill me.
Right.
I mean, you made it. I mean, I got my degree. And if you think and you compare yourself to another college student, if another college student who's an athlete all of a sudden has to do the athletic part of it, uh, they couldn't handle it. They would quit. But our education was dependent on us being able to play.
Man.
So we had to take a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
So if we can make it then, this I was convinced that there's not much that they can do to me over here that would make me quit because I had the discipline
Right.
instilled upon me. I just didn't realize it.
Of course. I understand that. What would you say the best thing you learned about, you know, being overseas?
Well, looking at a African American
Mm-hmm.
and the reality of it, even today in 2022, do you know that most Black people do not even have a passport?
I agree with you on that.
Americans, they don't
No,
have one.
that's true.
They don't get a chance to get out and to go see different countries. As
Mm-hmm.
a result, their view is somewhat skewed. For instance, if you talk about going to London, first thing you'll hear them say, "Oh, that's the place where they drive on the wrong side of the road." And then you think, "Now wait a minute, they drive on the other side, but what makes that wrong?" It's just the mentality that we have.
Agreed.
And how many, especially living out in LA, how many African Americans do you know that speak Spanish fluently?
Not a lot. Some, but not a lot.
Which is actually a shame. It's really a shame
Mm-hmm.
because that's one thing now that I regretted after I came over here is that when I lived in California, see, my sisters, they speak Spanish fluently
Okay.
because all of their friends were Mexicans.
Mm.
So, they grew up primarily associated with Mexicans. But I didn't do that. you know, I didn't think I had any white friends until I started high school in Tulsa. But now
Mm-hmm.
looking at me over here, I speak Dutch fluently. I write fluently. I don't speak English unless I'm speaking with another American. So what are the odds of a guy who didn't play a lot in college coming to Europe, having a career for 14 years, being married for 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
becoming bilingual but speaking Dutch,
Yep.
and then also studying customs law and becoming a customs broker.
It's an unbelievable story, you know. Like I said, I remember I was just like, that's amazing. Because like you said, a lot of us don't even know where Europe is in a way. I mean, they've heard of it, but they don't
Yeah,
really know. Like, when I was in college, I didn't know I didn't know where Holland was. I didn't know where none of these places was. I just knew they was on the other side of the globe.
I
But
got another funny story about that too when you finish.
okay, okay. No, yeah, I didn't know anything, like I said. So when I got signed the deal, whatever to
Mhm.
come, I had to actually buy one of those globes, those big
Yeah,
ball globes, and like let me. Oh, okay, there it is. There's the
yeah,
Netherlands,
yeah, yeah. Little small speck on the globe there.
Exactly. Well, what was your story? What was your story?
Funny story. The summer before I first came over, because I didn't know where Holland was either. You know how you play summer at the gym, and I was playing, and I ran into a guy who played at Tulsa University. His name was David Moss.
Okay,
He played in the Netherlands too for a while, and he played in also at Ghent in Belgium.
okay.
But I ran into him, and we were just talking, and he asked me what I was doing next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, well, I'm going over to Holland and play. I got a contract. I'm gonna play over in Holland, Europe. So that's cool. I said, what you doing? He said, I'm going to play in the Netherlands. I said, oh, okay, that's cool. Neither one of us knew it was the same country. So we ran into each other in the competition.
That's
So,
funny.
I was a little bit embarrassed because that just goes to show most people, especially African American, if you tell them point out France, point out Germany, point out the Netherlands, point out Belgium, point out Poland, they have no idea.
Very
It's not
true.
important. It's not important to them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Now,
But my worldview is just totally totally different now.
oh yeah, definitely. I would say, what what advice would you have for like the next you, for the next Kendell Mack? Like, say you're coming out of the next you's coming out of college and wants to go overseas or anything like that. What would be the best advice that you can give them?
Well, it depends on what the person is looking for. If you want to make have a career in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to, because there's no people around telling you to go to class, go to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Make the most out of your time that you have down and work on your craft because they still will fire you. Maybe not as fast as they used to in the old days, but they will still fire you. And the competition is a lot greater, even though and it's just my personal opinion, even though the player is not as smart
Mm-hmm.
as they used to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because you're allowed to have more Americans on each team, you've got some teams that don't have the budget of the top tier teams.
Right.
So what do? They get a bunch of Americans
At cheap cost.
that are that are I would call them B players.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So the competition gets a little bit saturated and it's not that good. So you're gonna have to stand out and don't get caught up going and hanging out and try to make sure you hit every club. You need to make discipline your friend.
Agreed. Agreed. No,
That's what I would do. That's my advice.
yeah, no, definitely. Like, like you said, don't try to hit up every club, which is true. Um, and learning how to just deal with your surroundings, like you said, because I always felt like here's what teams do that don't have a ton of money for Americans, so they don't get like the top notch. Let's just
Mm-hmm,
say they have 150, $160,000 for Americans
mm-hmm.
for the year. So instead of getting maybe two Americans that are $80,000 a piece,
Yeah,
they'll say, no, we'll get five. Americans to give them 35,000 to 30,000,
That,
35,000 apiece, so we can have a
that's what they
bunch of
do.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you
what they
know.
do. Because they
Um,
under the illusion that that the more Americans you have, the better your team is going to be. And
yeah,
the thing is, because you can't pay the top tier American, the Americans that you get are going to be average, and so your team is going to be average.
right, right, right.
And they
I'm,
all trying to get their numbers so they can get the next contract.
yeah.
So you're going to have a team full of guys who are playing selfish, alienating the country's national players,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and the coaches night.
I didn't seen it. I didn't seen it. You know, like would team have like 6 Americans? I'd be like, man, y'all a JC team. Y'all like JC, man. Like y'all got 6
Yep,
Americans, bro. That's crazy.
yep.
You
And they
know?
all shooting every time they.
Okay. This is a two-part question. What would you say your biggest triumph was in Europe and your biggest failure was in Europe?
Biggest triumph. I would say my biggest triumph was my longevity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was, as I started to age, my uh, my numbers went down, of course, but I was always able to be valuable to a team, so and play on a good team, which
Mm-hmm.
gave me a chance to win the championship. Because the thing is, I always have in the back of my mind the walk-on mentality
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as a walk-on, and I never really, maybe out of fear of getting fired,
Mm-hmm.
I never really bought into the just get comfortable. I never felt comfortable, so I
Agreed.
kept,
Agreed.
which made me keep working at my craft. Failure, uh, I would have to say when my body start failing,
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
had a major knee surgeries,
Oh wow.
and the thing is, when I came back, I had some of my best years. I didn't have my quickness, but I I reinvented myself. So maybe that was the greatest success that I had, coming back from a knee injury that they told me I wouldn't be able to play anymore,
Mm.
and played even longer.
Mm-hmm.
Won a championship, made the All Star team a couple of times. Set the record for the country for the most 3-pointers in a quarter. I hit 7.
Ha! Clay Thompson in his piece.
Yeah, I hit no dribbles. Just let it go, let it fly.
So for real, Clay Thompson.
Mhm. But my failure was, yeah, probably when my body start to deteriorate, and I was
Mm-hmm.
already in. Maybe I should have taken a little bit better care of myself.
Okay. Okay. Well, you took care of yourself to play 14 years, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, when the body fails, when you get injured, then you always start second guessing yourself.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
but I enjoyed it immensely, man. It was a great ride. I still go to the Bulls. So I don't have to pay for no tickets, nothing. I just go up in there,
Oh,
and
see,
I can
that's
drink and chill, and everybody still remembers me. So
no,
it
see,
was
that's the
nice.
thing. Yeah, that's for me. That's why one of the reasons why I want to go back to Europe, just to
Mhm.
go back like during this basketball season, to where
They
like
still remember you. They still
yeah.
remember you, man. They still talk about you too. That devastating jump hook. Oh my God. No, nobody can stop that. You had that hook, man. Oh, oof.
Well, I learned, in college because like I was, if you want to say undersized,
Mhm.
so like I had to learn how to get it up fast. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
before you up, okay, like throw it fast before you
that
can
was
block it.
beautiful.
All right. Well, I got one more question for you. Kendall, man. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and talking about your years in Holland and and being MVP of the league and obviously Belgium. I would say I have a couple questions now. You played in Holland for multiple years, won championships because you won a championship in the Boss. Marcel
Championship in
Hybens was
both.
he Marcel Hybens on
Yep.
the team with you? Okay.
Yep. Marshall
Yeah.
Highlands was on the team.
Okay. And you won a championship in Eiffel Tower, right?
Nijmegen. Yeah.
Yeah, Nijmegen.
Yeah.
Nijmegen.
Yeah.
And was that my first year? What year was that when you won the championship?
I think I may have been at Eiffel when you were at Den Bosch.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm
My
thinking.
first year, Eiffel, they won the championship. Was like Ryan Robertson was the
Yeah, he was the point guard.
He was the point guard, and they had obviously Chris Mim and all those.
I
Yeah.
just saw Chris last month when I was over there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Chris, Chris Mim, he came to Den Bosch. Den Bosch. He came to Groningen.
Yeah.
The next year,
I remember him. Your namesake, Travis Young.
Yeah, Travis Young. Yeah.
You guys had a monster squad, boy. Woo!
On paper, but the problem was Chris got hurt or whatever, and then he left. And then we you told the story of the eight guys that got released in a year, like 8 Americans. We had my first year in Groningen with Tone Bolt. He must have released about 20, throughout the year. Like we were down to 6 players at one time because 2 guys quit. He cut 2 guys. So literally for a month, we played with 6 guys.
Tom Boat was wild, man.
Yeah. We played with 6. And the funny thing, let me tell you, we was practicing 2.5 hours with 6 guys.
Yep.
We was practicing.
Boat, huh?
Yeah. We was practicing hard, 2.5 hours, 6 guys. So by the end of the season, we went back to 7. We had 7. And so, we came together at the very end and we got lucky. Nijmegen.
Gotta have luck.
Yeah.
You gotta have luck.
Eiffel got beat by Den Bosch in the semis. It was kind of the upset of the whole playoffs. And we beat Amsterdam in Amsterdam. We we was down 20 or whatever in the fifth. We beat Joe Spinks and them.
Yeah.
And so we ended up beating them Boss, which was weird because I played with them Boss the first year, played with them, and Groningen the next year. We beat them in them Boss, and then they cheated. 2 years later, they combined teams, them Boss and Nijmegen, and created this super team.
Yeah.
And they beat us in 7 games in the finals 2 years later. I always give Sam Jones, Snoop. I always give him dude, you had to combine teams to beat me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's what they did. That was the year that I went to Weird. That was my last year.
Yeah. Well, let
me see. They both beat Eiffel. I was still there, but I was just kind of helping out, coaching, and
I remember that
last year there.
Yeah, it was your last year. I remember that. Like I said, after that year, like I said, they kept going. They brought in Leon Rogers, and they kept going. But then the Matrix Magic was who played in the Nijmegen's old gym.
Yeah,
they kind of took over, and then Nijmegen and the Boss, like I said, combined teams, and they end up winning the championship. But and then Travis Young, he went to after they beat us. He did a Kevin Durant. Yeah, they beat us in the finals in Game 7. Yeah. He did a Kevin Durant and joined them. And then they ran away with the championship the next year. So,
did you hear about what he did after that? Huh?
What?
He came back, and I think they didn't pay him his money, something like that. I don't know the whole story, but he left in the middle of the night and went back home.
Really?
Yeah, he went back to the States.
Ha! I didn't know that story.
Yeah, he
That
did.
was the
Yeah, he
next
did.
year after they won the championship.
Yep, yep,
He left in the middle of the night.
yep.
I didn't know
I think
that.
rumor has he's like left the car at the airport and took off.
Just bought himself a ticket and was like, all right, I'm out. He
Yep,
didn't give me my money,
yep,
I'm out.
yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of crazy stories like that, man.
No,
You had time, I
no.
had. You had time, I could really tell you some crazy stuff.
No, I believe it. Like I was telling you, like the next year we won the championship, and like I said, Boat did what he did. Chris Mim left. He brought in another player who was like great, Nate Fox. Nate Fox was a really good player. God rest his soul.
Yes, he was.
6'9", big and buff, could shoot it. Handle everything. He cut Nate. I was like, you cut Nate? Oh. Me and Travis was like, he cut Nate. He is man. He is tripping. That year was like, what I'm saying, like he brought in so many guys in and out, in and out. We ended up settling, and then that was the year we were the number one overall seed. We had won the Dutch Cup, number one overall seed, lost to the eighth seed, Bergen of Zone. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Was
yeah.
Orlando Lightfoot there?
Yeah. Yes, he was. Yes, he
See,
was.
I played with Orlando for 3 years.
Yeah.
In Belgium.
Yeah. Okay. No, that was crazy, man. Like I said, I was gonna say, well, we can get into all that stuff, we end up talking for 2 hours, man.
Yeah.
Last question for you. At every athlete's person's career, we all go through low points or overseas, or in the States, whatever, but in your case probably overseas. We go through low points in our lives or careers. How did you get out of your low point? Or and did somebody help you, or did you get out of it yourself?
Well, there's not a person around anywhere in this world who don't need help.
Right.
But if you're looking at from a basketball perspective, we all go through periods where things don't go the way we want to. But I've had good coaches my whole life, and a lot of times, there's a story my coach used to tell me about a guy who was trying to set the record for chopping down trees with his axe.
Okay.
He had heard it was like 21. So he goes out there the first day and he chops, and he only gets to like 17.
Okay.
The next day he tries even harder. He gets to 20. The next day he goes out, he tries even harder, and he gets to 19. And he just can't figure out why he can't get 21.
Right.
So the guy finally sat him down and he says, did you ever sharpen your axe? The guy had never sharpened his axe. So the thing is, I learned sometimes you can try too hard, but not in the right way. Sometimes you need to just sharpen the axe. Sometimes you need to say, look, in either film or whatever, go back to when it was working. And you will find, I think a lot of times, even in relationships and on the court and off the court, you will find, if you look carefully, that there's some place that you let go of maybe the discipline that you needed. And you will start to do things out of just motivation. But to me, motivation is kind of like a feeling. You're sad, but you're not sad all of the time. You're happy, but you're not happy all of the time. And a lot of times when you're not happy, you stop doing the things that got you where you were.
Right.
So a lot of times it's just for me, just refocus, go back and take a look and see if you're doing things the right way, like you were doing when you were having success. At least that's what worked for me.
That makes sense. That makes a heck of a
Sharpen the
lot of sense.
axe.
Work smarter, not harder. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. Well, like I said, thank you, Kendell, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Like,
My pleasure.
man,
Enjoyed it, man.
yeah, so I said it. Another one, like people, he's a Dutch legend, man. Trust me. Like people know who he is. You look up Holland, I promise you, he's one of the like all-time greats. What are you up to nowadays?
Well, like I said earlier, after I stopped playing, I had my degree from ORU telecommunications. And that's another thing. While I was when I decided I wanted to stay here, I always did little odd jobs because we didn't have any work experience because all we
Right.
did was play.
Yeah.
So I worked at Foot Locker and a couple other places in order to build up a nice resume.
Right.
I got on at Microsoft in Germany, and after that, I took an administrative a job closer to home where I'm living at UPS, and they gave me an opportunity to become a customs broker. So they sent me to school for about 2 years with exams included, and I studied customs law, and I became a customs broker. So I'm a customs broker for UPS.
Nice.
I work 3 days at home and 2 days at the office.
Nice.
So life could be a lot worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. That's 100% true, man. So that's good. That's real good. You know what I'm saying? So, well, like I said, thank you for coming on, Kendell. Like I said, we need to come on again, man, for sure during the season.
You're very welcome.
Yeah,
Anything I can do for you, man, and help you out.
No,
just hit me up.
Definitely. Yeah, man, for sure. I would say you can follow me at Travis W. Reed. That's REED on Instagram. Also follow me, Travis W. Reed, on Facebook. Shout out where you at, Kendell, on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to, if you want to.
I would do that, man. I'll shout out to you. You take care over there, man. Everybody over there, I hope it's going well.
Yes,
Love and greetings, man, from across the pond.
Well, like I said, I know you tired. I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, next time. Thank you.
Okay, peace out, my brother.
All right, all right.
Later.
Later. And like I said, you can follow me at Travis W. Reed on Instagram and Travis W. Reed on Facebook. I have my merch, Travis Reed, An Athlete's Journey. If you're looking for some of that, just DM me on Instagram. Shirts, like I said, I'll ship it to you, whatever the case is. So feel free, like I said, to hit me up about that. Also, if you're looking, like I said, if you're looking for a book club, I have one. It's Travis Reed book club. It's on LinkedIn. You can follow me on, Travis Reed on LinkedIn. And like I said, you can follow me on Believe Network with An Athlete's Journey. I have a new show called He Said, She Said. If you're interested, in that kind of man-woman dynamic. Also, Believe in UCLA with me and my co-host, me and my other host, Sam Conner. All on Believe Network, all on Spotify, Apple Podcast. And like I said, we'll get back to you next week. Thank you. And like I said, I have all different sizes of my merch and that Travis Reed and Athlete's Journey. So support the show, buy some merch. Be greatly appreciated.